welcome to Mlc Tv News. My name is Morno Balagubu. First, the headlines. Federal government inaugurates a committee on scrapping and merger of agencies. 2022 budget, MARWA commend BUHARI, Finance Minister, for adding value to NDLEA's future. FCT police in a joint operation rescue abducted UNIABUJA victims. Suspects arrested. And the body of the owner of collapsed building OSIBONA in IKOYI, Lagos, recovered. And now the news in detail. 10 years after the federal government appears set for full implementation of Stephen Oronsaye report on scrapping of some government agencies and the merger of some others to reduce the cost of government in the country. Secretary to the government of the Federal Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, has accordingly inaugurated 2 subcommittees to review the main report and white paper on restructuring and rationalization of the federal government's parastatals, agencies and commissions, and review new agencies created after the submission of the Oronsaye report from 2014 to date. The 2 committees were given 6 weeks within which to conclude their work and submit reports to the federal government. He noted that the inability to implement the report of the Committee on Restructuring and Rationalization of Federal Government Parastatals, Agencies and Commissions is costing government highly. SGF, who was represented by the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemieson, lamented that this cost grows higher for every delay that the implementation suffers. He noted that this was further worsened by the fact that immediately after the report was released, parastatals and agencies billed for mergers or scrapping began developing means of further entrenching themselves as a major expenditure source to the government. He specifically noted the inauguration of the subcommittees was designed to finalize what most Nigerians might have considered a seemingly intractable challenge in Nigeria's drive to evolve a sustainable governance architecture for effective service delivery by the public service. The Director of Media and Advocacy of the agency, Femi Babafemi, in a statement quoted MARWA during the budget defense of the agency before the House Committee on Narcotic Drugs, where he expressed appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari and the Finance Minister, Zainab Ahmed, for their deep understanding of the challenges of the 32-year-old agency and their support to enhance its capability and performance. He equally acknowledged the legislative support being given to the agency by the National Assembly and the leadership of the 2 chambers of the legislature. He appeals to the federal lawmakers to continue their support with the passing of the proposed budget and enhance it where necessary, especially in the areas of essential needs like the purchase of arms and ammunition. In his remarks, Chairman of the committee, Francis Otagbo, emphasized the need to support the agency to be able to surmount the enormous challenges before it. He also said apart from an overhaul of the NDLEA Act to remove the option of ridiculous fines for offenders, the committee will stand up against any move to legalize cannabis on the floor of the House. Kogi State Governor Yaya Bello says choosing the right leaders to govern Nigeria is critical to tackling the security challenges in the country. Bello said this at the National Security Summit organized by the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, in Abuja. The summit was titled National Security Through Youth Engagement. The governor had earlier expressed his interest in contesting the 2023 presidential elections. According to Bello, the political class and leaders at all levels of government are responsible for taking critical decisions. Hence, insecurity can only be resolved with the right leaders in power. Bello also said it is the collective responsibility of every citizen to contribute to the security architecture of the country. The governor asked youths, who constitute the highest demography of the country's population, to do a thorough research and assessment of who they want to govern them. He also asked Nigerians to consolidate the efforts of President Muhammadu Buhari to effectively tackle the security challenges in the country. The Catholic Bishop of Ida Diocese, His Lordship Most Reverend Dr. Anthony Ademu-Adaji, MSP, has commended Governor Yaya Bello of Kogi State for his staunch security portfolio and his lofty successes in fostering the peaceful coexistence between being enjoyed in the state. The Reverend Cleric spoke when he received in audience the state deputy governor, Edward Onoja, who paid him a courtesy visit at his Ida residence. He was accompanied by the chairman of the Ida local government area, Abu Odoma, and his vice, Zuwerat, Aminu State Assembly members, and other government functionaries. Welcoming his guests, Adaji applauded the synergy shared between the government and the church in Kogi State, saying Bello has sutured his leadership along priority basis of just, fair and equitable representation of the people. He further stated that the statuses on Ida and Ankpa local government areas, even Kogi State and the entire state, as the hotbed of unabated crimes such as cultism, kidnapping, burglary, road and bank robberies, have changed to statuses of relative peace and calm, courtesy of the governor's airtight security measures, insisting that only a secured environment can guarantee ease of businesses and investments. He upheld that the governor's laudable successes are traceable to the strategic and working relationship he shares with his executive chairman presiding over the 21 local government areas of the state. Bishop Adaji commended Chief Onoja, whom he said as a loyal and dependable ally to his principal, on his contributory roles to achievements of the Bello-led administration in Kogi State. His Lordship finally extended an invitation to the Deputy Governor to the 8th National Convention of the All Saints Igala Catholic Community, slated to hold in Ayimba between 4th to 7th November 2021. Mangal Industries has signed an agreement with the Chinese firm Sinoma for the construction of a 3 million metric tons per year cement plant and 50 megawatts captive power plant in Moba, Kogi State. The project is expected to be completed in early 2024. Chief Executive of Mangal, Engineer Fahad Mangal, in a statement noted that the total project cost is approximately $600 million. According to him, the investment is part of an ambitious investment program under implementation by Mangal Industries Limited. In his bid to give his constituents a befitting road network, member representing Yagba Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Elder Leke Abejide, has paid contractors to commence total reconstruction of the Kaba Isonlu Egbe Road in Kogi State. Ordinarily, the construction of roads and other infrastructures are not part of the mandates of a lawmaker. However, after all his efforts to impress it in the Federal Ministry of Works failed to yield positive results, he took the bull by the horns. In a statement issued by his media aide, Abraham Ibukun, in Abuja, said the first stage of reconstruction will cover the stretch from Iluagba in Ijumu local government area to Insonlu in Yagba East local government. Abejide, who chairs the House Committee on Customs and Excise, said he has been making unrelenting efforts to ensure the bad road from Ayetoro to Egbe is constructed by the federal government. He recalled his visits to the Minister of Works on the need to urgently reconstruct the road connecting Kogi and Kwara states, but reasoned that paucity of funds from the federal government may delay the work, hence the need for his intervention. The federal lawmaker stated that the deplorable state of the road requires total reconstruction as it is beyond palliative interventions. Governor Babangana Zulum of Borno State on Thursday disguised and visited some government hospitals unannounced, during which he discovered officials collecting money from patients for services meant to be provided free of charge. Zulum had summoned the Commissioner of Health, Juliana Bitrus to join him in a 10-seater bus that is usually used for airport services. The governor left the government house around 1:30 p.m. without his convoy and siren and headed straight to the newly established primary health care center at Gwange, 2nd Ward in Maiduguri, where he found out that some workers were collecting between 8,000 to 10,000 naira before diagnosing and treating patients of common ailments such as malaria. The governor had directed the Borno State Primary Health Care Agency to thoroughly investigate, identify all the culprits, and take appropriate disciplinary actions. Zulum decried that the same primary health care center had only one medical staff on the ground to attend to the patients, despite having 29 health workers on the government payroll. The governor proceeded to a similar primary health care center at Gwange 1, but found medical workers on the ground attending to patients without extorting them. While noting that he was happy with the development, the governor commended the staff for being good people. Ogoni stakeholders have met with the Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Ezenwo-Wike, and unanimously agreed that he lead a multi-consultative forum to discuss with federal government on the planned resumption of oil production in OML 11, whose license has been granted to NPDC. The stakeholders said the choice of the governor was aimed at preventing saboteurs who may want to adopt divide and rule tactic to cause crisis in Ogoni at the detriment of the people. Briefing journalists after the closed-door meeting held at the executive chambers of Government House, Port Harcourt former president of the Movement for the Ogoni People, Mosop Ledumiti, said the meeting with the governor is sequel to the meeting a delegation of Ogoni leaders had with President Muhammadu Buhari a couple of weeks ago in Abuja. Lee said the Ogonis are resolved to file behind the leadership that will be provided by Wike concerning the setting up of a multi-consultative forum. On his part, Olakanwogu said they are resolved and have willfully given authority to Wike to offer the leadership that will serve as a pathway to multidimensional, multi-group and illicit multi-organizational response to the oil issue in Ogoni land. On his part, Barry Piggy said before any further discussion with the Ogonis, the presidency should quickly complete the East-West Road and expedite action on the cleanup exercise. A prominent Ogoni women leader, Priscilla Vikwe, said her people are united and will not allow anyone to pass through backdoor to take Ogoni oil. You're watching Mlc Tv News Hour. We'll go on a short break. We'll be right back. Please do stay with us.
Mlc TV Online is here. For your timely and reliable news that reaches you fast with the breaking news, choose MLC TV. Get human interest stories right here on MLC TV with entertainment, sports, business, culture, tourism, and fashion news stories all featured on MLC TV. Not forgetting political and current affairs news, state and federal government and people's matters will be discussed regularly on MLC TV. MLC TV, your one-stop online destination for unbiased, accurate news, entrepreneur ideas, and youth matters to the rest of the world. MLC TV, reaching everywhere, informing everyone.
Welcome back. Justice Inyange Kwu of the Federal High Court in Abuja on Friday stopped the federal government from going ahead to deduct $418 million from the bank account of the 36 states governments. The judge issued a restraining order against the federal government following an ex parte application argued by the counsel to the 36 states, Jibrin Otikpa and Ahmed Raji, both senior advocates of Nigeria. While moving the application, Otukekpa, who led the legal team of the states, told the judge that the states would be completely crippled if the federal government should go ahead to deduct the huge amount from the bank accounts of its clients. The senior lawyers told the judge that the federal government predicted the plan to deduct $418 million from the state account monthly to service a debt for contracts allegedly executed for the states. However, Otukepa said the 36 states' attorneys general have scrutinized the purported contracts and judgment and found that the states were not parties to court action that resulted to the judgment there. He further submitted that the purported contract claimed to have been executed for the states are not known to any of the 36 state governments and is therefore a phony contract. The senior lawyer further told the court that the federal government was the only party to the court case that brought the judgment, and therefore such judgment is not binding on the state government. After listening to the arguments of the 36 states, Justice Ekwo ordered the federal government not to go ahead to make any deduction from the state account in respect of the purported court judgment until all issues relating to it are fully determined. Defendants in the suit are the Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, Finance Minister, Accountant General of the Federation, and all banks in Nigeria, amongst others. The judge fixed the matter for the 30th of November and ordered the plaintiff's lawyer to serve all processes on the defendants before the adjourned date. Action Aid Nigeria, an international non-governmental organization, has called on security agencies to be more proactive than reactive in addressing security challenges. Resilience Program Coordinator, Action Aid Nigeria, Anistus Atakbu made the call at a 2-day capacity building workshop for 42 members of Kogi State Conflict Management Alliance, KOMA, in Lokoja. The news agency of Nigeria now reports that the workshop was organized by Action Aid in collaboration with Participation Initiative for Behavioral Change in Development, BIPSEED, with funding from Global Community Engagement and Resilience Fund GCERF, Geneva. Atakpo said there was need for security agencies to be more proactive, taking due cognizance of early warning indications, build resilience, and take adequate action towards managing conflicts before they snowball into violence. He said for the past 13 months they have been implementing a project called the System and Structural Straightening Approach Against Radicalization to Violent Extremism, SERV2 project in Kogi and Nasarawa states, and to that effect, Action Aid established the State Conflict Management Alliance, comprising 42 individuals cutting across different segments of the society, including opinion leaders, religious leaders, security agencies, and the media. He said that members were expected to come together to discuss issues of peace and security with the objective of proffering supportive solutions or recommendations to the State Security Council headed by the Executive Governor. One of the resource persons at the workshop, Sami Ihejirika, a conflict management expert, attributed conflict in the society to poverty, unemployment, and aberration of family values. Operatives of the Nigerian Police Force, Kogi State Command, attached to Isonlo Area Command while on stop and search operations led by ASP Ahmed Salihu along Irunda Isonlo Road, has arrested a suspect, Umaru Muhammad. This was contained in a statement issued by the Police Public Relations Officer of the Command, ASP William Ovie Aya, which was made available to newsmen. According to the PPRO, the suspect, a 25-year-old, is a member of a gang responsible for a series of violent crimes, including armed robbery, kidnapping around Isonlo and its environs. Aya revealed that the arrest was made possible following a report received from a patriotic citizen that some suspected criminal elements were sighted around Isonlo axis. He said that the police operatives promptly swung into action, trailed the suspect to Koro village, a boundary between Kogi and Kwara states, where Umaru Muhammad was arrested. He noted that upon the arrest of the suspect, other members of the gang escaped. The police spokesman mentioned that some of the exhibits recovered from the suspects are one locally made gun AK-47 rifle live ammunition, 2 AK-47 ammunition, 1 single pump action barrel gun, 1 machete dangerous local charms, amongst others. He added that the suspect had confessed the crime and will be arraigned in court on completion of the investigation. A combined team of security agencies have carried out a sting operation that led to the arrest of Ibrahim Usman, a self-confessed major distributor of cannabis sativa, popularly known as Indian hemp, within Kogi Central Senatorial District, Kogi State. Armed with credible intelligence and acting on the directive of the chairman of Okene Local Government Council, Engineer Abdulrazak Mohammed, the security agencies arrested one Ibrahim Usman, an indigene of the local government, for being in possession of hard drugs. On interrogation, Usman admitted being a major Indian hemp distributor within Kogi Central. He also said that he owned a farm where the plant is grown outside Kogi, from where he gets his supplies. Usman has been handed over to the Kogi State Command of the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, for further investigation and prosecution. Also, the distribution of large quantities of cannabis sativa and packets of drugs suspected to be tramadol and other illicit drugs were intercepted by security agencies at Okene Eba of the local government. While the suspects fled on site, the gallant officers made away with 3 sacks of cannabis sativa and packets of drugs suspected to be illicit drugs that can cause severe damage to the brain and other parts of the body. The items have been handed over to the appropriate authority for further legal action. The council chairman, in a statement, said the operation will continue until the area is free from crime and the youths desist from selling, distributing, and consuming hard drugs. The FCT Police Command wishes to inform members of the public that all abducted victims of the University of Abuja were rescued and reunited with their families through a joint operation with other security agencies. The statement was made on Friday by the FCT Police Public Relations Officer, DSP Josephine Ade. She said the suspect has been arrested. Vice President Yemi Osibanjo expressed his sadness following the ugly events that occurred in Lagos on Monday, 1st of November 2021, where a high-rise building under construction on Gerard Road, Ikoyi, collapsed. He condoles with the families and relatives of all those who have died, injured, or affected in the collapse. Professor Osibanjo considers this painful loss of lives a horrible tragedy. Also, the attention of the Vice President has been drawn to an obviously sponsored falsehood regarding the recently collapsed building published by the Sahara Reporters on November 4, 2021, to the effect that the VP owns the land upon which the collapsed building in Ikoyi stood, that the said land was sold to him by the Chief Michael Adeojo, chairman of Elizabeth Motors, and the Vice President at some point intervened with the regulatory authorities in Lagos State to unseal the said property. The statement made it clear that Professor Yemi Osibanjo does not own and has never owned the said land. He has also never been involved in any shape or form in the development of this or any other land since he became Vice President. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Office of the Vice President, Laolu Akonde, who signed the press statement and made it available to journalists, stated that at no time whatsoever did the VP buy this or any other piece of land from the Chief Michael Adeojo or entered into any transaction for the sale of that land or any other piece of land from Chief Adeojo or anyone for that matter. All property and other assets owned by the Vice President have been publicly declared. Also, the Vice President has never spoken to the Governor of Lagos State or any other official of the state government regarding the unsealing of the said building on Gerard Road, Ikoyi, which subsequently collapsed. He has indeed never acted to influence any other regulatory action on the collapsed building or any other building for that matter in the Lagos State. The Vice President restates categorically that he has no interest whatsoever and has never had any interest either legally or beneficially in the land, the building, or the development. The wickedness and viciousness of a lie that seeks to utilize a tragedy where so many people have lost their lives, even as rescue efforts are ongoing, and in wanton disregard to the feelings and untold grief of their loved ones for political gain. reveals a dangerous desperation as well as the heartlessness of the perpetrator of such despicable lies. The Vice President has therefore referred the disgraceful publication to his lawyers for prompt legal action. The body of the Managing Director of Fourscore Homes, Femi OSIBONA, has been recovered in the rubble of the collapsed IKOYI building. Fourscore Homes is the firm constructing the 21-story building which collapsed on Monday on Gerrard Road in Ikoyi, Lagos. The National Emergency Management Agency confirmed this to journalists after rescuers discovered the body. So far, authorities have announced 39 recovered bodies from the rubble. Meanwhile, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has declared 3 days of mourning over the Ikoyi building collapse. Emergency responders have so far rescued 9 people from the rubble. And on to the foreign news, Australia's Victoria State removed entry restrictions to citizens of neighbouring New South Wales, allowing almost blanket reciprocal travel between the country's 2 biggest states ahead of the busy Christmas period. Victoria Premier Daniel Andrews said in a statement that Victoria and NSW have been through so much over the last few months, and they are pleased that more families will now be able to reunite just in time for Christmas and the holiday season. Travel company Flight Centre said open borders between Australia's economic powerhouses will be a major boost for hotels, airlines and other tourism businesses as flights resume between Sydney and Melbourne, one of the busiest domestic routes in the world before the pandemic. Victoria on Friday downgraded all virus hotspots in its neighbour to safe for the first time in months, and also permitted unvaccinated NSW citizens to enter without quarantine. Victoria had already opened up entry for fully vaccinated South Wales residents without quarantine last month, after closing its borders in July. New South Wales, which had allowed entry throughout the crisis to vaccinated Victorians, provided the complete a 2-week quarantine. Earlier this week dropped the quarantine requirement. However, it remains closed to any unvaccinated travelers aged above 16 from its neighbour. Adult double-dose vaccination rates have neared 90% in New South Wales and 83% in Victoria. Over now to Aliyu Nasir on Sports Today.
Welcome to Sports. Leicester City manager Brendan Rodgers is pleased to have Wilfred Ndidi back from injury. The Nigerian international has not made an appearance for the Foxes since picking up a hamstring injury in the 2-2 home draw against Burnley on September 25. Ndidi featured as a substitute in Leicester City's Europa League draw against Russian club Spartak Moscow on Thursday night. Rodgers is especially thrilled to have the midfielder back and insisted that his defensive solidity will be invaluable for City going forward. Leicester City will face Leeds United in their next Premier League fixture at Elland Road on Sunday. On a side note, former Commissioner for Information, Youth, Sports and Culture in Kwara State, Jide Adebayo, is dead. Adebayo died on Thursday at the age of 66 in a Lagos hospital of a brief illness. Statement released on Friday morning by retired Major General Lasisi Abidoye, a close friend of Adebayo, stated that Adebayo, until his death, was the son of Omuaro, second in command to the traditional ruler of the community, which is equivalent to the position of Prime Minister of Omuaro. He was the executive director in charge of marketing, one-time head of Lagos operations, former acting manager of the News Agency of Nigeria, and a commissioner for Information, Youth, Sports and Culture in Kwara State in 1999. Abidoye said he was a good journalist and a community leader par excellence who will be dearly missed. He will be buried on November 6th. That is Sports Update. I'm Aliyu Nasir reporting for Mlc TV.
Thank you for that update. Now we go over to Matthias Ayodeji for entertainment news.
Nigeria has joined an increasing list of world countries to place a ban on new Marvel superhero movie, The Eternals. Going by multiple online reactions, the film, which was slated to debut in Nigerian cinemas on November 5th, has been yanked from screening schedules. So far, cinemas are yet to comment on the sudden withdrawal of showtimes, neither has the National Film, Video and Censor Board (NFVCB), which has maintained a zero tolerance for gay content in Nigeria. The Chloe Zhao directed film has sparkled quite the global controversy, with countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar and Kuwait banning the film after Disney reportedly refused to cut a same-sex kiss. Zhao had in an interview shared that she hoped the film won't be banned anywhere in the global market so fans can get a full experience. In the controversial scene, actors Brian Troy Henry and Az Slamane shared a passionate kiss. The Eternal, starring Angelina Jolie, Jaeman Chen, Richard Madden and a host of others, portrays a new set of superheroes introduced to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It will be the first Marvel film to brandish same-sex relationship. Still in entertainment news today, Nigerian comedian Kenny Black will on Wednesday, November 17, 2021, release his first ever comedy special on Netflix tagged In My Room. Ahead of the release on Netflix, Kenny Black's Unique Made Entertainment, in collaboration with Blue Pictures Distribution Limited, will host a premiere at Blue Cinemas Onekon, Lagos on the release date November 17. The hilarious production is licensed by Netflix to stream to audience cutting across different demographics and launching the 27-year-old to regions such as the rest of Africa, the United States, United Kingdom and Canada. Incidentally, the comedian has stamped his footprint in these countries at different levels while on tour. Tapping on the strength of Netflix's wide appeal, his first VOD specials put him in a firm position to expand his audience and deepen his connection. Between Instagram, Facebook and YouTube, he commands the attention of almost 2 million followers. Netflix synopsized Kenny Black's thus: In My Room, in a one-man show, comedian and singer Kenny Black reflects on a year spent indoor amidst COVID-19, riffling on airport customs, his love life and more. Before now, the Nigerian movie industry, otherwise known as Nollywood, has enjoyed a beautiful romance with Netflix, with the American video on demand giant opening a Nigerian office and reciprocating the love by commissioning original productions. Blaze the try opening a huge door of possibilities for other home-based comedians. Kenny Black, whose real name is Kehinde Peter Otolorin, has established a solid reputation as one of the most authentic creative within the ecosystem. Speaking about his new project, Kenny Black enthused: On Christmas Day last year, I created an intimate music comedy event for a few of my fans as a test shoot for my first ever special attempt. After seeing a lot of it on Netflix, I'm elated that the test shoot has now been licensed exclusively by Netflix. I would like people to watch it and share their feedback with me. And that is all on entertainment news today. My name is Matthias Ayodeji Peter, reporting for MLC TV. Back to our caster.
Thank you, Matthias, for that update. And that is today's news package. Join us tomorrow via the same channel for sponsorship and advert placement. Do call the numbers now displayed on your screen or visit our social media handles: Facebook MLC TV, Instagram MLC TV 2021. Our YouTube channel is Mlc TV. Once again, I am Mono Balagobo. Thanks for staying with us and to have a lovely day.